It's a new day on SpaceX Daily, Episode 8. It's June 19th, 2026, and I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Plenty moving across Starship, Falcon, and Starlink today. Falcon 9's classified NRO launch from Vandenberg shows how booster reuse now supports steady cadence on sensitive national security missions. SpaceX launched an undisclosed number of Starshield satellites on a Falcon 9 from Pad 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base at 1:50 a.m. 45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on June 19. The mission supports the National Reconnaissance Office's intelligence gathering needs and follows the pattern of dedicated government payloads on the reusable medium lift vehicle. Liftoff occurred at 08:50:45 UTC after standard pre-flight checks, with the booster returning for a landing on a drone ship. This flight adds another data point to Falcon 9's ongoing record of high launch rates for both commercial and national security customers. Next, observers will watch the booster's post-flight inspection to confirm reuse eligibility for its next manifest slot. That reuse loop now takes center stage in today's engineering discussion. From an engineering standpoint, the Falcon 9 recovery inspect refly cycle replaces only highest wear parts and shifts marginal cost to propellant and range fees. Each cycle avoids building an entirely new rocket from raw aluminum lithium alloy, turbopump forgings, and avionics boards. This approach collapses the cost per kilogram delivered to orbit by roughly an order of magnitude compared with expendable vehicles. The NRO mission cadence shows that the remaining marginal cost is now dominated by propellant, range fees, and the small set of parts replaced between flights, rather than the vehicle structure itself. That same loop also explains why Starshield variants can ride the same booster fleet without requiring dedicated hardware builds for every payload batch. Continued high flight rates will test whether booster life limits eventually force more extensive refurbishment or whether incremental design tweaks keep the reuse multiplier climbing. SpaceX received investment-grade credit ratings even as its publicly traded shares declined following the June 12 listing. The rating reflects the company's established revenue from launch services and Starlink operations alongside its capital-intensive development programs. Analysts noted that the dual-class share structure and controlling stake held by Elon Musk remain unchanged by the rating action. The development provides a benchmark for how credit markets view the balance between current cash flow and future Starship-related expenditures. SPCX is at $185, minus 5.2% versus the previous close. Remember, we covered the Starship flight test campaign yesterday. LabPadre reported ongoing work at Starbase on June 18 focused on ground support equipment and vehicle processing ahead of the next test campaign. Crews continued stacking and checkout activities on the orbital launch mount and surrounding infrastructure. The updates included visual confirmation of propellant tank movements and tower arm positioning. These steps keep the site aligned with the goal of increasing flight test tempo. Listeners should monitor the next static fire window for any hardware configuration changes. LabPadre stream viewers noted fresh activity around the Starbase tower arms and quick-turn propellant loading tests on June 18. Independent observers on X shared unverified photos of additional Raptor engines arriving at the production building. Space enthusiasts discussed the implications of the 1 million satellite filing mentioned in regulatory updates for future on-orbit servicing markets. Several accounts highlighted the early morning Vandenberg launch timing and its coordination with West Coast range availability. In January 2026, the FCC authorized 15,000 Starlink Gen 2 satellites, while SpaceX separately filed for a 1 million satellite constellation that includes orbital data center concepts. StarCloud filed for 88,000 orbital data center satellites in the same period. The article explores how servicing and deorbit incentives modeled on carbon credit markets could manage the growing density of these large constellations. Regulatory filings show operators are already planning for on-orbit maintenance and end-of-life disposal at scale. On the AI front, XAI Memphis coverage examined how the Trump DOJ is positioning the Memphis data center project as a national security priority that could ease certain environmental reviews. Jan LeCun publicly questioned XAI's performance metrics relative to peer labs, focusing on training throughput and model capability claims. The satellite servicing article noted that SpaceX's 1 million satellite filing includes concepts for orbital data center nodes that would rely on Starlink-class power and thermal systems. One thing worth watching is that a rival firm secured a NASA Mars mission contract, removing one near-term opportunity from SpaceX's manifest and illustrating that competition for deep space science payloads remains active. The award underscores the need for Starship to demonstrate reliable orbital refueling and higher payload performance before it can capture similar missions. Resolution depends on upcoming flight test data that could restore SpaceX's competitive edge on cost and cadence. Elon Musk stated that SpaceX's primary early hiring obstacle was persuading married engineers to relocate to remote sites for extended work periods. The comment highlights the human capital demands of building a high-cadence launch and vehicle development operation from the ground up. SpaceX ultimately scaled its engineering teams by addressing family-related relocation concerns through targeted support. The insight underscores how workforce decisions directly shape the company's ability to iterate on hardware at speed. Before we go, watch for the next static fire window at Starbase and any updates from the booster post-flight inspection after the NRO mission. That covers everything worth knowing about SpaceX today. SPCX is trading at $185, down 5.2%. A quick rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify goes a long way. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. See you tomorrow. And before you go, this show is part of the NRO Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give environmental intelligence a listen, the Environment and Climate Policy Brief for Canada. You can explore the whole lineup at naronetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.